welcome here to Talk FCB and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, where we have a very simple question. Is Xavi underestimating the problems that we are facing right now at Barça? Because we're going to be going through his post-match press conference there and to understand really what the feeling was from him after yesterday's game, after yesterday's performance, which for me was another damaging Barça display. And we're going to be talking a lot about what Xavi had to say, and today as well, we're going to have an update on Ansu Fati because there is concern right now surrounding him at Brighton. So lots to discuss and lots to analyse. Let's do it. Because after Barça dropped yet more points in La Liga away at Rayo Vallecano, I wouldn't say that Xavi was overly frustrated in his post-match press conference there. I wouldn't say that he was overly alarmed, but he did say it was a game of two halves. In the first half, we dominated, but we didn't really go for the game. We were not aggressive enough. We lacked the mentality to go for it. And if we want to win trophies this season, we must change our mentality. So I think already there, those are interesting words from Xavi. I like the fact that he's saying, look, if we want to win anything, we've got to change, because clearly we have to do that. That is absolutely evident. But what I would question again here, and this is something you hear actually a lot from Xavi, to say in the first half there, we dominated. I don't understand that for me, because when you watch that first half performance, that is, in my opinion, not domination. Because yes, you might have a lot of the ball, you might feel comfortable in that first half. I mean, I think we feel far too comfortable, far too often. But unless for me you're putting serious pressure on your opponent, you're not dominating them. It is as simple as that there. And I think we hear far too many times that, oh, Barça dominated that half. We simply did not. And that should not be classed in our minds as domination. Xavi said there the second half was good, but not good enough. He said we woke up too late in the game. We could have scored more. He said we have to win these games if we want to win La Liga. We've got to be self-critical and we have to improve. We must be closer to that second half performance. And like we said after the game there in the review, I think there was definitely an improvement in the second half, but I think Xavi's got it spot on there. We woke up too late. It's no good then getting to the latter stages of the game and suddenly thinking, oh, okay, we're going to wake up and play now. Do that from the first minute. That is what we said over and over again about this team right now. But Xavi as well, hitting out yesterday at the officials. He said there are decisions that are going against us. You will tell me that I'm looking for excuses, but there was a clear penalty on Rafinha at the end of the game. We're not having luck right now with these decisions, and that's not an excuse. It's a clear penalty. But we also have to be self-critical, and we must play better. And I would agree there with Xavi, in all honesty. I don't think it's an excuse, and I don't think it should be used as an excuse, but, you know, we are getting some dreadful decisions going against us. I was actually so frustrated yesterday with the standard of refereeing in La Liga that they drove me to make my first ever short over on MORETALKFCB. Quite simply there, of Robert Lewandowski being body slammed off the ball, and nothing happened there. Absolutely unbelievable. And Lewandowski, by the way, also retweeted that same video of him getting smashed off the ball on social media. So that shows what Barça are feeling right now. But here's the big problem though, guys, because as much as we can talk about officials, we can talk about not starting games well, we can talk here about the fact that Barça are not performing, the real question is, how much of a problem right now does Xavi feel that we actually have? You know, how much in his mind does he see things going wrong, and how serious does he feel the situation of the team is in this moment? Because then he said, after winning La Liga and the Super Cup last season, maybe our level has dropped subconsciously a little bit. He said you can't allow that, neither from me as the coach nor the players. We have to give more. Now, I understand what he's trying to say there in terms of our level may have dropped off, we need to improve, but I think to say a little drop-off, a slight drop-off there from the start of last season, really? Are we actually saying right now this is a small change in the team that we're seeing? Because for me, we've fallen off a cliff. This is not a little drop-off from Barça right now. We are a million miles away from where we were, for instance, at the start of last season. And that is there for everybody to see. And I don't think right now that Xavi is understanding the full problem. Because if this was simply about him saying to the media and actually putting a spin on it there to say, oh, well, things aren't too bad, just to keep the pressure off, just to keep the criticism there to a minimum. If that's the poker face sort of that he was presenting to the world, but behind the scenes maybe with the players, he was saying, right, this is nowhere nowhere near good enough. You know, I might be saying to the media, this is a small drop-off, but we have work to do. But the problem is right now, guys, I don't think Xavi is saying that. And I say that because, do you think this team right now, that every single game start in the way they do, with no urgency in first halves, with no intent there from the very first minute, do they look like a team? Do those look like players that have actually had their coach bellowing at them to say, look, this is not acceptable, this is not good enough, there will be consequences? It doesn't look that way, does it? It looks as though, we've said this before, that everybody's comfortable. Everybody feels as though, oh, you know, we'll get there. As the game goes on, we'll get into it, we'll get a few goals. We don't need to be too concerned. I think the time has come now to actually be concerned, to actually set up and say, right, this cannot go on. This is nowhere near good enough for a Barca team, and it's not a little drop-off. This is serious. And I think you see that even more evidently there, as Xavi went on to say and sort of finished there with, it is normal that there is criticism right now surrounding the team, but I know that we can turn this around. There is plenty of time. Now, I understand, guys, that it is a long season. We've got a lot of games to come. There is still time. There is no doubt about that for Barca and indeed Xavi to turn this around. And I hope that it can happen. I really, really am praying that we can do something. But I also feel, as much as it is a long season and as much as there is time is still, though, of the essence. Because you're looking at the league table right now, we're dropped to 4th. Now, every single week that goes by, we seem to drop lower and lower. We're now in 4th place. We're behind Atletico Madrid after their win last night, and it could get even worse for us with Girona and Rayo Madrid still to play, and Atleti still have one game in hand. So already there, Barca, it's not looking good. 4th in the league is never ever something that we accept, that we are going to be comfortable with. And let's not forget here, guys, the next 2 league games that we have are against Atletico and against Girona. So yes, there is time. There's opportunities there to turn this around. But if you don't get those 2 games right, and in the big midweek game in the Champions League, if you don't actually wake up quickly enough and arrive in these games with the Barca that we know and we expect to see, you can be in serious trouble. You have a huge problem on your hands if this team here doesn't wake up quickly. We need some urgency right now, right throughout this team, from the coach and from the players, to put things right. Not tomorrow, not in a week's time, not in a month, not in a long season. Put it right now. We must see a reaction. We cannot continue to coast through this season, because every single week we're dropping down the league table. Every single week there we're hurting our chances of silverware. Something has to give. Something has to change, because the Barca that we are seeing right now, guys, I'm sorry, it is simply not good enough. But okay, guys, rant, well, sort of over. Rant over for now. Let's just take a deep breath here. Let's have a little bit of calm towards the end of the video, because I also want to talk to you today not only about what's happening at Barca right now, but also looking to the future and talking about Ansu Fati, somebody, of course, we've got a very close eye on this season. We want him to succeed at Brighton. We want him to get back to his best level. And as you can see right here, when he was actually arriving yesterday for Brighton's game against Nottingham Forest, Barca, of course, are playing in the early kickoff. And as you can see right here, Ansu arrived at the stadium there as a Brighton player, watching Barca on his phone. So quite clearly, he's still keeping a very, very close eye on the club. And I wonder what he thought of yesterday's game. But unfortunately, guys, the laughter comes to an end there, because Ansu started the game for Brighton looking good, but he was subbed off after 20 minutes of play. With an injury problem, he was unable to continue in the game. And already, that is a very, very worrying sign. And since then, Brighton, as of right now, they haven't officially announced what that injury is. They haven't told us exactly what the problem is, what the severity of it is. We're still waiting for any concrete information there coming from Brighton. But the general feeling today within the Catalan media there, Sport came out with something that basically said it's not looking good. Although we haven't heard anything yet from Brighton, nothing official, the signs right now are not at all good regarding Ansu Fati, and there may be more bad injury news on the way. And I'm just hoping right now, guys, that is not the case. Of course, you want to wait and hear what the club has to say. That's the most important thing, and we're not really going to jump to any conclusions before we do. But Please, no more bad news here. Nothing regarding Ansu Fati. We do not want him anywhere near any more injury problems, but let's all come together and hope and pray here that Ansu is going to be okay and that he can get back out on the field as soon as possible, because his time in Brighton so far has been exciting and he was starting to get back in the groove and getting back to his sharpest, which is exactly what we want to see. So let's hope the news can be positive on Ansu. Please do let me know, guys, though, your thoughts in the comments down below on Barca right now. What are you feeling? What are you feeling every time you tune in and watch them play? What conclusions can you draw again from this weekend's performance? And also there on Xavi's words after the game. What do you read into those? And what can we do to move forward from here? Do let me know all of that down below. I will see you soon, of course. Big games to come. Massive week ahead for Barca. And I will see you for all of that build-up, guys. Thank you indeed for watching here, for all of your support, of course. But until next time, as always, Visca, El Barça.